For sure. All right. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Happy, apparently, spring. Leo, you said yesterday was the first day of spring here. I didn't know that. And it's
Debatable.
snowing. So apparently it's not
Yeah.
spring.
Yes. Yeah. So, hi everyone who's here joining us today. I'm very happy to be doing this live with Andrew. To those of you who don't know, we do these lives almost every other week. So, if you follow us on our YouTube channel, if you follow us on LinkedIn, or if you follow us on Instagram, you will always have a chance to find out when these events happen. We also have a
Absolutely.
community for teachers, right? So teachers want to join that community to find out more about events that we have. Then you can join, click on that QR code right there on the screen, and you will join our free community where we offer not only free guidance, but also support for those teachers who want to start their teaching business, which is basically the reason why we're here, Andrew,
That's why we're
because
here.
we all started somewhere. We work for ourselves now. You work for yourself. I work for myself. I know a lot of teachers who are probably watching this recording also work for themselves. And we start somewhere. And let's talk about that. Where do we start? What's the starting point for a lot of teachers? And I think it's a good point for us to explore.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And everyone, in our opinion, needs to have like a why of why they want to start their teaching business. And the word business is sometimes different for everyone. We've talked to a lot of teachers who want to, what goals do they have? Right? We probably
Mhm.
had the same goals for ourselves: more flexibility, working a little bit less, a little bit of fewer hours, a little bit more, with work that we really like. Even talking to someone yesterday who just wants to take a little bit of vacation, every
Mm.
year that she doesn't get much vacation doing what she's doing now. So it can be different for everyone. I think the
Yeah.
word business is kind of scary for some people, a little bit. It
Yes.
doesn't have to be like you're building up an Amazon or something. It's just, I think I like the term lifestyle business, right? One that
Hmm.
allows you to do what you want to do. And it doesn't even
Hmm.
have to be your only source of income. For us, we love teaching, so we still do teaching and we do this, and we have other projects as well. So I think it's really finding the why of how it would fit, how it would make
Hmm.
you happy, and how it allows you to just basically, I know this is cliche, but just live that kind of life that you want to live, where you can look back on it and say that you tried something, you challenged yourself, and then you're happy with the result.
Yeah. I actually like the term lifestyle business because that's ultimately what a business is for, is you are trying to be in charge of designing your own life, because the problem when you work for someone else, the onus is on them. They are the ones who will dictate when you're going to work, how often you're going to work, and more importantly, how much you're going to get paid. And we
Hmm.
know that a lot of teachers are not very happy working for other language teaching organizations, be it a school, a university, a private school, or what have you. And a lot of them have started, and I think that after the pandemic, this became kind of a boom. A lot of them have decided to venture into this world of running a teaching business. And Andrew, a lot of them, very much like you and I, we always start with teaching one to one, right?
For sure, for sure. It's very logical. It makes sense. I mean, I think in a very, I use this analogy a lot. Like if we work in a school, for example, and then we kind of take that model into our own side venture or business and say, well, I go to the school and I teach the students live and they're there. So that makes sense to take that model with me as well. And at the beginning, actually, it makes a lot of sense, right?
Hmm.
If you haven't done a business before, if you're just starting, maybe you're working with clients where you're not really an expert yet on what they need and how to help them, which is okay, by the way. Like when I was doing a session last week and someone asked me who has never started their business yet, and he just asked me, like, Andrew, like, I'm not an expert in this and this, like, what advice do you have on these
Hmm.
things? And I just said, rule of thumb is always to try and work with people two steps behind you in the
Hmm.
journey, right? You don't have to be the expert of all experts, which doesn't really exist, by the way. But you don't have to. I think this imposter syndrome is normal, but just help someone one or two steps behind you in that kind of journey, and that would be your client, and working with them one to one at the beginning to really learn about them and their needs and their goals and your system
Hmm.
for helping them in your own way achieve those goals is really important. So
Yeah.
that's, I think, the purpose of one to one for me is really to get that information that will allow you to expand beyond that later. But the problem that we see is that a lot of teachers don't expand beyond that. They just keep doing the one to one again and again and
Yeah.
again indefinitely.
Yeah. And I think that's the point that we wanted to talk about, because recently, I think it was last Wednesday, we had Carolina,
Carolina.
one of the
Mhm.
members of our community, and she actually was talking about how she basically went from she didn't have a niche, so she was nicheless, so she was just teaching all kinds of students. She was doing a lot of one-to-one tutoring, and she didn't have any products. She didn't have anything. And she eventually started taking some of our courses, and I think she was taking the 5 and 30, and she eventually came to the realization that you can't teach one-to-one forever. And I think it's important for us to talk about why. What is your take on that, Andrew? Why is it why teaching one-to-one is it's not a sustainable business model? It's a good stepping stone towards
Great stepping
building,
stone.
but it's not the business itself. What's your take on that?
Well, getting to the definition of the word can, like, can you actually do it forever? Sure. Like, physically, you could, right? But I think what we're saying is you shouldn't, because it's not a commodity. It's not something that's worth anything. And going back to the definition of maybe lifestyle business, right?
Mm,
Like, imagine yourself 10 years from now, 20 years from now. Maybe you want to retire, and then what? Like,
yeah.
are you going to generate, if you're not generating enough money now with your one-to-ones, then how are you going to? If you're just going to keep sustaining this over time, if you're not investing, if you're not saving, if you're not earning enough to get
Hmm.
by, how is
Hmm.
that ever going to change, right? And if,
Yeah.
as you get older and into retirement, you continually have to continue with one-to-one sessions, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't add up. It doesn't allow you to do anything. It's like having a job where you just have to keep working until I don't know,
Yeah.
retirement is gonna be a weird word for all of us as in our generation as we get to that point, because at least in this part of the world, there are no pensions, there are no benefits, there are none of these
Yeah.
things, in most jobs, or not most, but a lot of jobs now. So with one-to-one teaching, what most teachers we hear want is more time, less
Hmm.
work. It's not even about making a lot of money for a lot of people. I mean, it can be,
Yeah.
and that's fine, but just making enough to have a life that you want. And
Yeah.
with a non one-to-one model, you allow
Hmm.
yourself to actually help more people, or enough
Yeah.
people that you can have benefits for you, benefits for them. And that's the myth I hope we can continue to combat, is that
Yes.
one-to-one is not in the best interest of you as the owner of the business, and it's really not in the best interest of the client either.
And I want to explore that. But before we do this, I want to talk about something I want to bring this conversation back to something that you said earlier, which is understanding the purpose of your business. So, a lot of teachers, they make this transition to starting a teaching business. They normally gravitate towards this one to one. So, they start really by talking about the products or the services that they are offering to their customers. But a lot of the times, these products or services, they are not really solving any specific problems, or they don't really explain how you can make the lives of your clients, of your students better, or their careers more successful.
Right.
So what's important for teachers to understand when they're thinking about starting their teaching business is that you're not selling English classes, you're not selling a product, you're not selling a service. You have to think about this: you're selling an outcome, a better tomorrow, a more positive future. And to go back to what you said, Andrew, I think teachers they need to start their business plan with that very important question: why? Why are you launching your business? And as you said, is it for time and work flexibility? That's the case for me. Is it for extra money to save up for a house? Is it to help fast track your success and, avoid the blunders you've made in your journey working for someone else? So I think clarifying your purpose is extremely important, because this why is the compass that is going to be guiding every detail that you put into your teaching business. And to say, just to add to what you said also, Andrew, and I think this is something that I want teachers to really understand. A lot of teachers, when they think about the purpose of their business, it's it's you have to remember that you have to remember about ownership. When you run a business, it's about ownership. It's not about hourly wages. So a lot of people say, "Oh,
Correct.
I want to charge $100 per hour." Yeah, that's great, but you're still trading hours for dollars. And we know this, that even in high-paid jobs like like lawyers or doctors, there is a limit. There is a cap to how much you can earn. And A lot of teachers say, "Oh, I want to be able to make some money while I'm not working." Well, that's the power of owning and running a teaching business. You're not just working for a business.
or
So,
any
in
business.
most, yeah, yeah, in most jobs, and I think we know this, your earnings are directly tied to the hours that you work. More hours, more pay. But as you said, it caps your potential. And even a lot of top professionals. I have a friend, she's a psychotherapist, and she says, Leo, I spend 8 to 9 hours a day in my practice. She's caught in the cycle. She's working for an hour and she's getting paid for the hour. It's very straightforward, but it's very limiting.
It is. It is limiting. And I think this is where you mentioned a lot of good things there. So in terms of the transition from one to one, you can always add one to one as part of an offer, as part of something that you provide, right? It's not like you have to eliminate that, but it's how you charge. Like you said, it's having the ownership, right? It's not, hey, sign up for classes with me. It's this much per hour and you can cancel the classes whenever you want. Like, no, 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 no.
Yeah.
This doesn't do any favors to you, right? As you said, focusing on the result, right?
Hmm.
So understanding their goal, understanding the problem or hurdle in achieving it, understanding why they haven't been able to do that by themselves, understanding what overcoming that hurdle or how overcoming that hurdle improves their life, and then putting a solution, a package together that's a fee to achieve the
Hmm.
results within a certain time frame. That's the
Hmm.
offer. And then the logistics of how you do that is up to you. It can include one to one, it cannot include one to one, it can be whatever. But it's not per hour. It's, hey, it's 6 weeks from now, you'll have done this. And you said that this would impact your life in this positive way, right? Great.
Hmm.
So you want to get started, and it costs this much money,
Yeah.
right? If you think of any, not any, but many, many business models, even we teach at colleges here. I love working at these colleges. They're great. The students don't sign up for, they have this many hours of class per week. Great, but they don't charge them by the hour.
No.
They say the course is 8 weeks or 12 weeks or 15 weeks or whatever it is, and it costs this much money,
Hmm.
and they pay. And then
Yeah.
within that, right, and we teach online, so it's a little bit of asynchronous work. They do tasks at home, they bring those task questions to the class, we work on them together, we give them extra homework. Some of the
Hmm.
assignments they do asynchronously, some of the assignments we do synchronously together. That's the
Hmm.
package, right?
Yeah.
It's not, I have 2 hours of class with them in the morning and the school charges them $100 for this. Like, no, that's not how it works. So take the same model and apply it to your business.
Mm. You said something important, and I wanted to touch on this because a lot of teachers say to me, "Oh, Leo, but starting a teaching business, it's so much work." It is so much work if
Yes.
all you do is teach one to one, because then you won't have time for your business. And I want to argue that it's not really about hard work, because you can work in a restaurant. I'm going to give you an example here. You can work in a restaurant 80 hours a week and you're not going to get rich. You're not going to have more free time. You're not going to have flexibility in your life. Making money, running a business is about knowing what to do, who to do it with, and when to do it. It's
Oh,
it's
I like
much
that.
more about understanding than purely hard work. And I think that's the myth that we need to debunk here. It's not about working harder. It's about understanding the kind of work that you need to do in order to be able to launch this business. And I'm not saying, and this is very important for me to say this,
Interesting.
I'm not saying that hard work is not important. Hard work matters, and you cannot skimp on it, but it has to be directed in the right way. And the mistake that I constantly see teachers making is they're putting all this hard work in the wrong place.
I'm glad you said that because in the restaurant job or any job, you're usually rewarded for hard work, right? People who show up early, stay late, uh, put in the effort, extra effort. That's usually how we define or how a manager would define working hard, right? They get
Yeah.
promoted or they get raises because they're willing to kind of sacrifice themselves for the company, right?
Hmm.
In your own business, I I I got this quote from one of our favorite books, which is A Company of One. And he says, you are not entitled to be paid for something simply because you enjoy doing it.
Mm. You're not entitled to be paid for something just because you enjoy doing it.
Correct. That's a hobby.
Uh, that's a hobby. Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Just I like playing
Exactly.
pickleball. If I wanted to charge people to watch me play pickleball or to that's not gonna happen, or be to
Hmm.
teach them how to play pickleball, I'm not that good at it, right? So teaching, I think we hear this a lot, teaching, "I love my students, I love teaching." That's great. That's not a reason why they need to pay you, though. You need to
Yeah.
find something there and working hard on finding that, and as you said, not
Yes.
on all of the other things. The word business
Yes.
again is an umbrella term. Whatever
Yeah.
your why is, why do you is this just gonna be something where you can save extra money for vacations,
Yeah.
or something more significant to pay for a down payment for a house, or something even bigger where maybe it is
Yes.
your only income, but still not trying to do everything. I think it's really important for teachers to have the exclusion criteria in their mind, which is
What
there's
does
so
it?
many
Yeah.
shiny objects, there's so many
Yes.
distractions, there's so much advice, which is all good, but it's not a one size fits all, right? It's what do I want to do, and keep this as simple as possible. It's not a business where you're gonna have employees and you need to have more clients and more clients and more clients because you have a payroll. You have to pay
Yeah.
people. That's likely
Yeah.
not what you're wanting to do. It's just it's not. And you said about charging. There's so much to say. Sorry, but like about charging for per hour. Even for me,
Uh-huh.
that's misguided. It's not a bad intention, but it's applying that work or that thought process in the wrong place. For
Mhm.
me, it's more about reverse engineering from the back, right? How much money do you want to make per month or even per year? How much
Mhm.
per year? And then divide that by 12. So that means per month,
Yeah.
which means how many clients do I want to work with in an ideal situation? Say 5. And then so 5 clients times whatever that number is how much you need to charge per client. And that's your number, right?
Yeah.
It's not an arbitrary, I want to charge $50 an hour, $100 an hour. Like, so what? If you're charging $100 an hour and you only have 2 clients, that's only 200. Like, you're not going to live on
Yeah.
$200, right? So you have to work
Yeah.
from the backwards to the front.
That's why I think this is perfect because well, this is the reason why if you don't know yet what you should work on, the most important thing for you to do is to figure it out. Otherwise, you're going to be working hard on the wrong things and you will never really get to the point where you actually have a business that is doing work for you and you have the kind of freedom and the lifestyle that you want for yourself. So
Right.
you should not grind at a lot of hard work until you figure out what you should be working on. That is the most important piece of advice I can give to people. Don't grind
I
at yeah.
No, no, sorry, go ahead.
No, as I said, I was just going to repeat. You should not grind at a lot of hard work until you know exactly what you should be working on. But the problem is, teachers think they have to be working hard all the time, doing everything has to be hard. It doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way.
Having a business is hard,
It
full
is.
stop.
I agree.
And
I
there are
agree.
some months where it's like easy and it feels like and then for no particular reason, the next month is like, what happened?
Yeah.
You know, this is the ebb and flow of having a business, and there's a certain mindset required, or you just have to embrace the ups and downs because that's just normal and that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
But I like what you said, putting the effort in the right place. And I think there are so many distractions building a website, having a landing page, getting a mailing list, building a lead magnet, building a course. So what?
Yeah.
Right? We talk a lot about the "so you can" principle for clients and people that, if you're a teacher who you help, what's the outcome for them? They wanna achieve this so they can do something, right? Their
Hmm.
why, what's their why? But at the very basic level, the goal for a business should be, 1, to help clients do the thing that you promised to help them, and 2, to earn a certain amount of money. That's it. Those are the 2 most important foundations, right?
Hmm.
And then how do you do that?
Yeah.
And in most cases, you don't need all of the other things, right? Rhetorically, I always ask if you could have enough clients to earn the amount of money that you want to make per year, and you could do that without having a website or any social media, would you still build a website?
I don't have a website.
And I hope the answer is no, by the way.
No. Yeah.
Because there's no point. If you're already achieving your goals and you're happy with it, then that's it. All these other things are just tools to reach the goal. But if you have the goal already, that's it, right? So a website gives you presence, right? Social
Mhm,
media can have people find you, whatever. But the whole purpose is just to get people,
mhm,
get enough clients. And so you need to have a number, would be my advice. What's my client capacity? How many people do I want to work with? And I think one of the sticking points to sticking to one is teachers don't identify the specific problem that they solve
mm,
and
yeah,
then the solution to that problem. Because otherwise, yes, you have to keep teaching one because you have to figure it out for each individual person.
yeah,
Everyone's different. But if you have an avatar that is more or less the same, we joke a lot about needs assessments, right? And how basically
mhm,
your niche is a needs assessment. Like you don't need to do a needs assessment if you work within a specific niche because every person
mhm.
comes more or less the same challenges, the same obstacles, similar goals, similar reasons why they can't do it. So that's the needs assessment by itself. So if you a lot of people get stuck with one because they don't figure out exactly what they
Yeah.
solve for that type of person.
It reminds me of that post that you shared with me once about that teacher who teaches. I think the teacher said, "I teach as young as 5-year-olds all the way
Yes.
to 80, Monday to Saturday." What was that? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like
I don't
that's
remember
a,
exactly what it was, but
but it
yeah.
was something ridiculous like that. Like I teach 6 days a week, um 10 hours a day, one to one. I teach all the way from kids as young as 5 years old all the way to like people in their late mid to late 70s or 80s, and I still don't have money to travel. I still don't have time for my family, and that is the problem with trying to teach everyone.
It's a
And
rat race.
that,
That's what we call the
yeah,
rat race.
yeah, and this is where I think a lot of teachers kind of trip up. They try to be everything to everyone, and you can't. You
Bill Van
just
Patten calls
can't.
it the Atlas complex or the Atlas syndrome,
Yeah,
or I forget exactly what
yeah.
it's called. Because I saw another post, there was a really good thread on LinkedIn about people putting their help statements, etc.
Mhm,
for, I help blank to blank so they can blank, right? And one teacher wrote something about, hey, I customize lessons individually for all the students. I help them with TOEFL and IELTS and conversation and business, and I customize, that kind of thing, being really kind of proud of that. And that's great
mhm.
if that's what you want, right? But doing a jack of all trades, doing everything will not allow you to move away from one to one because
Yeah,
the nature of that is just you have to literally customize every single thing for each person.
yeah.
And if you only charge for the hour that you're with them all the time outside of that customizing, it leads
If
to a not ideal situation,
yeah.
right?
This is why I think specificity is our best friend here. You want to really zero in on a very singular, pressing problem that these people have, and then you solve this problem for them better than anyone else. And it's funny
Right.
because I remember someone talking about this, and I think people don't seem to understand this. But Andrew, if you were to ask 100 people who follow you, and you said this, describe me, what problem do you think I solve? Do you think you would get the same answer from people?
I think a similar answer. I
Yeah.
think a similar answer.
So in your case, it's because you have a very clear understanding of the problem that you solve for people. But if you are a teacher watching this and you ask 100 people who follow you on social media, and you ask them, "Hey, describe me. What problem do you think I solve?" If you get 100 different answers, then you know it's time for you to narrow down your offer a little bit.
And that's the first step, right? So again, if you at Learn Your English, we work with two profiles of teachers, right? One is someone who's just starting their business, hasn't started at all, and is curious and really wants to just get out there and try, right? And then the second profile is people who have started, they have clients, and they're stuck usually with just one to one, or I can't really
Yeah.
solidify my niche, or I have a niche, I think, but I don't have a product, and I can't get that equity, that ownership that you mentioned. All right.
Mhm.
So those are the two profiles that we work with. If you're in the first one, if you're just starting, then yeah, work one to one with people, right? Even if you have a business now and you have clients and you want to, maybe you don't have a quite solidified niche, work with that new niche. This is it's an
Mhm.
iterative process, right? It's not like a light switch. We just flip a switch and we have a business, right? It's a process. So yeah, work to with one to one at the beginning, but quickly know when to stop, when to transition into We can use the word course, program, offer, structure, whatever. Not Don't overcomplicate it. Just think of how a school charges students. They have some time together learning. They have homework. They have assessments.
Hmm.
They have other things going on. There's a fee for
Yeah.
everything in. But quickly move to that kind of model. That's a
Yeah.
goal-oriented model that after X amount of time, you will achieve this, so you can this.
Hmm.
And that's it. Don't keep in the one-to-one for long because you'll
Yeah.
you'll get stuck there.
And this is why I think it's important for teachers to really understand that starting a teaching company, starting a business, it doesn't mean you have to keep growing all the time, as you said. You know, you can form, as you said, like the name is perfect, a company of one. And then you can
Right.
deliberately stay that way indefinitely, because
Exactly.
that might be more durable, that might be more profitable and more enjoyable than growing into a very large organization. So
I'm
when you work
sure.
for yourself, you're not trying to get bigger, you're trying to get better. I think that's the
You have
point.
to define your goals at the beginning because
Exactly.
when someone asks me, I get these messages in my LinkedIn like a lot, like, "Hey, I saw you do this. How can you help me?" And I'm like, "I don't know." What do you need help with?
Yeah.
Like it's an impossible question to answer because what is the goal? Hey, I
Yeah.
want to make this much money, or I want to have this many clients, or I want to only have this many clients, and I want to have vacation most of the year. Like you have to define your goals first, and the strategy informs, or sorry, the opposite. The goal informs the strategy,
The why.
right?
The
Not
why.
the other way around. No, I need a website. I need this. I need this. Why? To do
Yeah.
what? To
To do
accomplish
what?
what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people have started in the inverse, as opposed to, hey, per year, I think it'd be nice to make this much money.
Hmm.
Great. In the first year, that's probably not going to happen. It might, but it's probably not going to. But what's the plan in the first 3 months? Where you can, in
Hmm.
the first 3 months, you can run a pilot project for a new niche that you're working with, right? Test it out, get validation. Then you can run it again. And within 6 months, you have some proof, some testimonials, some expertise in the area. And then you can start to fiddle with your fulfillment, start taking away some one-to-one, to start taking away some time, right? So within
Hmm.
6 months, this should be your goal. So if you started your teaching business today, by September, you should have run your course twice and moving towards a simple system to attract consistent clients and
Hmm.
not really having any one-to-ones within 6 months. So if you're listening to this, you're watching this, and you're just starting, that would be a benchmark for you.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty good benchmark to have. And I think it's doable. I don't think it's that hard. And again, a lot of teachers overcomplicate this process, overthink this process, and overanalyze this. And then, of course, they end up being paralyzed. So if you are a person watching this, if you're watching this YouTube live stream here with Andrew and myself, we invite you to actually try some of our solutions for you. So, Andrew, what are our solutions for teachers? How can we help them? They have a
Yeah,
problem. How do we solve that problem for them?
right. So first of all, you have to fit yourself into one of our two buckets, right? So the first one is you haven't started your business at all and you don't know where to start, right? Maybe you work at a school, maybe you're working for platforms, maybe you have, a couple of, you tutor your cousins or something like this, right? But you
Yeah.
haven't started at all and you don't know where to start. So if that's the case for you, jump into our free community. I'll put the QR code here on the screen as I talk and click at the same time. And there we have some free guidance and support on how to get started, where to get started, what you should do, things to consider, and really things to ignore. Because at the beginning, it can be distracting and overwhelming with all the information available. So there we walk you through what really is the nitty gritty of what you should be doing, and most importantly, not doing. And then if you really wanted to take action and really kind of like, hey, this is my year. I've been thinking about doing this and I haven't done it. Then you can click that QR code in the top
Mhm.
left, our 5 in 30 community boot camp, where we show you how to get your very first 5 clients in just 30 days. So if that's you, you're just starting your business, you don't know where to start, you haven't started, that will actually show you how to get the most important thing, I think, when starting a business, which is just momentum, which is just taking that first step. There's a cliche that says anyone can learn to be really good at anything in about 20 hours of focused
Yeah.
work. But the problem is the majority of people delay hour number one. So 5 in 30, it just helps
That's
you get
true.
that first hour started, get some momentum, and 30 days from now, so by April 20th, as the weather gets better, you'll have 5 clients and your business will be started, and then that will inform the next
Yes.
series of decisions.
You need those 5 clients to kind of start understanding the kinds of problems that they have, so that you can eventually start crafting a better solution that is aligned with the problems that one group of people have, so you can provide one solution to solve that one problem. So you have to focus really on one
Correct.
thing at a time, as opposed
Correct.
to trying to do everything
By
at the
the
same
way, this
time.
doesn't mean that you have to completely abandon, like, everything else you're doing in your life, right? I think
No,
people get
absolutely
scared of,
not.
like, "Oh my god, all my eggs are in one basket, just one niche, just one problem." Like, this is a
Hmm.
process, right? And eventually, maybe, yes, that's all you do, but we would never recommend that. We do 2 or 3 different projects ourselves, right? This is one that we
Hmm.
do. We teach, we do other things. It's your life, it's your lifestyle business, right?
Yeah.
So if you're just starting and you're transitioning, like, don't quit your job, don't fire your current clients, right? Just do this, find 1 or 2 hours a week to do this, build it up, and use information to make an informed decision,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, there are people who really like having a very niche teaching business, can still do some one-to-one general tutoring over there and still, do something else. And other people have different goals. So defining the goal is really important. And then if you're in the second bucket of people that we help, maybe you already have a business and you already have your own clients, whether it's niche clients or non-niche clients, you can still join our free community on the screen there. Walk through some free support, excuse me. But then a 5 and 30 wouldn't really be for you because you've already started. You've already kind of got
Hmm.
it moving, right? So then for you, what we invite you to do is we have free, one-to-one coffee chats to really understand your goals, your vision, and help you to put those goals down onto paper because sometimes it's hard to articulate, right? And then we can see if we have a solution for you or working together to
Hmm.
get to that next step is a good fit. But what we really do in our teacher accelerator program is to help teachers move away from one-to-one teaching to put a framework in place for their first course, not thinking about what that course really means, just thinking about it's not going to be a one-to-one hourly rate offer. It's going to be a flat rate for a
Yeah.
specific problem and a specific goal, and helping you put that in place and then going through the pilot testing phase so that in about 6 months, you've done it a couple of times, you have solidification, you have momentum, confidence
Yeah.
there. And then again, you can make those decisions on what to inform the next step as well.
And you're going to be working with us on a daily basis, weekly
That
basis.
too.
We have Q&A calls, we have coaching calls. So you're not going to be working with our assistants. You're going to be working with Andrew. You're going to be working with
We
Leo.
don't have any
You're going to be
assistants.
working with Mike. So too many teachers are pouring every waking hour into their business, but they're forgetting the one thing that we said at the beginning of this live, which is don't forget the reason why you're starting. Don't make the same mistake that a lot of teachers are making. If you really want to understand the reason why, book a call with us on tap. We'll give you a few questions to get you thinking. When you jump on the call, we will help you fine tune that reason why and talk more about the most important thing, because the greatest benefit of starting a one person business or or a company of one is freedom. Freedom to choose your work schedule, freedom to choose the people that you work with, and more importantly, as you said, Andrew, enjoy the life that you want outside of work. You
Exactly.
know,
Exactly.
you get
So
to
move away from
design.
that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say you get to design the game you're playing. They're not designing it for
Mm,
you. You are the one in charge of it. You're the one in charge of that. So you're not to go. I like what you said about lifestyle business. I think we should do our next session on lifestyle business. But
okay.
when I think about building a business, I always think about this. I'm not just building a business. I'm building a life that I love. I'm building a life that I want to live. So when I think about my business, when I think about the why of my business is I want to build a life that I love.
I
I
like
hope
that.
this message resonates with everyone watching this. So don't forget, join our community. If you have no idea where to start, 5 and 30 is for you. If you have an idea, if you have clients, but you're still trying to fine tune this process, you're thinking about different types of revenue streams and things like that, book a call with us on tap. It's a free strategy session that we will do with you, and we will help you not just build a business, but build the lifestyle, the life that you love.
Keep it simple. Right? It's a very simple process. We like the rule of simplicity. One thing, one system, one way. And yeah, let's do the next live on lifestyle businesses because I think that's important. For me, I pretty much have Monday morning off and Friday afternoons off. That's what I wanted. I wanted kind of long weekends for myself every week, and that's kind of what I've accomplished, honestly. So,
The lifestyle that I love involves a lot of working, so
but you
that's
like it. I
I
think it's
like it.
different if you like it. It
But I'm
keeps
working on different projects, so it's different. That's why, because it's the life that I love, right? I have
and
a
then for
few
everyone
I have
it's
a few
different.
morning offs too, but that's it. So, Andrew, this was great. Everyone who was watching this, we really hope you liked this. Don't forget, follow Learn Your English here on YouTube. Hit the like button. Maybe even better, share this with a teacher that you know who is thinking about starting their teaching business. There is a lot of confusing advice out there. There's a lot of misinformation about starting a teaching business. And the main reason why Andrew, myself, and Mike, the main reason why we do this is because we really want to help teachers get out of this hamster wheel of teaching one to one and eventually diversify their offers so they can offer different things. And eventually we can talk about what those different offers are in a live.
Absolutely. And the best thing I think is all these skills are transferable, right? So a lot of people say, well, if I don't like the niche, what if I want to break up with it? It's fine. You should if you don't like it. But all of these skills are transferable to anything else that you could offer later. So it's more of a career building thing as well. Awesome. All right. Well, I guess that's it, Leo. We said 30 minutes and
Yeah,
we went over time as usual. So
5 minutes, 5 minutes, but it was not
not too
bad,
bad.
not bad,
Not too bad.
not too
All
bad.
right.
Thanks
And
for
thanks
everyone who watched
everyone.
this. Yeah.
And